Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shelly Zalis, CEO of Ipsos OTX and ARF board member.
Thank you. I'm actually really excited to be up on this stage today, because I'm a proud ARF board member. I'm not just an ARF board member. And thank you to you, Gail, for making every ARF experience a magical one. But I'm also really thrilled to be here because I have the privilege of introducing to you our next keynote, who is phenomenal. And one of the things we talk about a lot in today's day and age is we're living in a changing world. And the truth is, that's not true. We are living in a changed world. The world has changed. We're moving from a world of push, where we used to have linear content that we could push, to passive couch potatoes sitting back, taking. We're now living in a world of pull, where consumers pull what they want when they want it. So what that means is we have to create content that's engaging. We have to create content that consumers want to pull. So what's the magic formula to engagement today? Our next keynote is going to share secrets with you. We all love secrets. But more importantly, I did a Google search to see what would come up about this next speaker. And here's what I found. Reformed consultant, TV type turned Googler, aspiring talk show host, twin mom, and loves reinvention. Please welcome our very dear Tara.
Thanks, Shelly, for that inspired introduction. I expected no less from you. And thank you to Gail and the ARF for inviting me here to Rethink 2015. It's a pleasure to be here. What was less of a pleasure, although I assume not under the purview of the ARF, was my commute this morning in the rain. And so as I was standing there, wrestling with my umbrella and my bag and my business cards and trying to get the kids out the door and looking for my subway pass, I thought to myself, maybe I should really be rethinking my approach to transportation. And so I pulled out my phone and I Googled New York City limo service. And what popped up was literally 969,000 references to New York limo companies. And so that seemed a little overwhelming. And so I thought, all right, maybe I'll just take a cab. But it turns out there's 13,600 of those in New York City as well. So it wasn't exactly helping me in narrowing my choice. And so then I thought, well, maybe I'm really thinking about this all wrong. I need to think bigger. Maybe what I really need is a new car. And so I Googled new car models and found there are 265 available this year in the United States, up 25% from what happened in 2000. And so by then I was really frustrated, and I said, all right, I'm going to go to the Rolls-Royce website. Surely there is only one Rolls. Turns out that's not true. If you have the means, you can now get a Rolls-Royce customized to your liking. And in fact, there are 45 standard colors of leather available in your selected Rolls-Royce. And if that doesn't work for you for the right price, they are willing to customize to any color you bring them. Welcome to the age of abundance, where you can really have anything your heart desires in almost real time. And the reason that's relevant for us here today is nowhere is that more evident or more accessible than in video. So I won't belabor it because we've all seen charts like this, but we all, in this room, we all remember the good old days, right? When you could capture 80 to 90% of your audience just by advertising on Monday Night Football, 60 Minutes, and Friends. That was what the age of scarcity was like, right? We were all fighting for the exposure we could get in the same number of hours. But things have changed. multi-screen media consumption has increased 500% in the past 3 years and is only growing. Nielsen in the fourth quarter showed reports that indicated that TV ratings had dropped 4% in that same quarter, while online video streaming had increased 60%, and mobile online video streaming up 400% in the last 2 years alone. And candidly, I bet for people in this room, those results are even more dramatic. So all of that online video consumption is just vast. Americans are consuming 1.2 billion videos every single day. That will happen today. And uploaded video on YouTube alone, today alone, will be more video than was created and shared by the big 3 networks in the last 5 years. This shift from scarcity to abundance in video has really big implications for us here in the room who are trying to fundamentally rethink how we drive extraordinary results for our brands. We have an opportunity, and quite frankly, an obligation, to connect with consumers in many more moments, in many more places, in many more situations that really matter. The challenge is we're trying to do it with a finite set of resources, in many cases the same finite set of resources. And so what that means is it's more important than ever that we are getting insight as quickly as we possibly can into what's working and what's not, and that we're able to measure all of these moments that matter. Now, the good news is that technology, the same technology that's driving this abundant video consumption, is also enabling much broader, richer measurement. It used to be the case that brand measurement primarily consisted of addressing one question, right? How many impressions did I deliver against my target audience? Today, we're able to find out not just how many impressions were delivered, but A, who actually saw the ad, and more importantly, did we change their mindset and behavior as a result? And we're able to get these results more rapidly and more accurately than ever. So it all starts by making sure your ad has a chance to be seen, and I heard that's come up here. You know, it starts with having your ad here rather than all the way down here, right? And in 2014, we, along with many industry leaders in this room, urged marketers and publishers to adopt viewability as a currency, that it would be a common metric that would drive results for all of the parties involved. And in order to try to help drive this change and to provide more rapid, more precise, more actionable reporting, we launched a viewability solution called ActiveView that measured every display impression, not a sample, every impression in a matter of hours. And what we found in some of our early tests is that for ads that were viewable according to the MRC standard, so 50% in view for a minimum of 1 second, I practiced that. What we found was those ads increased conversion by up to 50%. And they drove brand lift increases of over 10%, while not surprisingly, the non-viewable display ads drove no brand lift at all. So the business results are real, and it's not surprising that forward-looking publishers are eagerly trying to adopt their ad formats to maximize viewability, and brands and agencies are increasingly prioritizing and insisting upon viewability in their buys. So we think it's now time for the industry to expect viewability in video as well. And in a few weeks, we're going to publish a second viewability study that shares a lot of our findings about video. A lot of the things about what worked and what, frankly, really didn't matter. So as an example, we found that the length of the video ad, or where it is in the video content, whether it's pre-roll, mid-roll, post-roll, really doesn't matter at all. What mattered a lot was where the video was on the page. And what you can see is that horizontally, maximum viewability took place if you put the ad in the center of the page, what was true across the web was that vertically, the ads that were the most viewable were at the top of the page. And we're looking forward later in the year to pursuing many of the secondary metrics like watch time and audibility and things that will give us even more insight and impact into what's happening beyond the view. So historically, brand measurement has had a big gap in reporting on the moments in the consumer journey that exist between the initial impression and ultimate conversion, right? So all of the moments when people are forming opinions and comparing products and doing searches and thinking what their intent is, all the things that are going to lead them up to a buy. That's the stuff that really matters. Candidly, even viewability is just table stakes, right? This is what we ultimately want to know. And so technology now enables us to fill this gap. Last year, we started running live brand surveys as companions to YouTube campaigns. Some of you may have used them. Some of you may have participated in them as a consumer. They are what they look like, a survey that pops up real time and gives measures to brands on things like brand awareness and ad recall and all of the actionable insights that you need in order to be able to figure out what is happening between exposure and conversion, and more importantly, to be able to do something about it. The other thing that we launched that was helpful, we were told, was for the first time you could actually track the lift in organic searches against your brand based on the specific video ad. So you could see pretty close to real time what was happening as a result of your ad in terms of generating interest and intent in your brand. We've now run over 6,000 of these surveys for many of the largest brands in the world. And what we found is that measuring all of the moments that matter, not only as you would expect, drives stronger results, but it actually highlights a few interesting themes about how to drive success in this new world of video abundance. 3 of the implications that we're going to share today are: 1, context still matters; 2, choice matters more than ever; and 3, it's incumbent upon us to make timeliness matter. So what about context still matters? We all know that online video has opened up amazing possibilities in terms of targeting specific audiences, right? You can now connect with people not just based on age and gender, but also based on affinities and interests and things that relate to your brand. And that matters a lot. What's also interesting is that context matters too. You might think, well, hey, now it's a relic of a bygone era. But what we've seen from our brand lift studies is that while finding the right person is essential, finding them in the environment in which they want to be reached and with the format that aligns best to their mindset as they're experiencing it dramatically amplifies your impact, even if you've already got the right person. The challenge with that is, how do you figure out what's the right context? Now, the first thing you do is you figure out where most people are watching video. That's the easy part. The challenge is that the abundance of videos and channels means it's not just dozens, it's thousands that you have to think about how to navigate. And quite candidly, that was a real challenge for us too at YouTube. I mean, how do you actually curate the content when teams of hundreds couldn't possibly manually customize and make recommendations based on all of the content that's uploaded to YouTube each day? And then it hit us. The answer was to listen to the fans themselves. They were, quite frankly, already curating the content for us with things like views, likes, comments, shares, all of their indicators of interest. And so all we needed to do was apply an algorithm to figure out how to surface that content for us. The result was an offering we launched last spring called Google Preferred. What Google Preferred does is it helps brands navigate content by algorithmically curating YouTube's inventory based on fan popularity and engagement. So it makes it easy to find YouTube's most engaging stars, the ones who are really driving the water cooler talk today. And early results confirm that consistently, the higher the score based on the algorithm on the preference of the content by the fans in Google Preferred, the better results brands are seeing in ad recall, in brand lift, showing that even in a world of advanced targeting, and believe me, we are passionate believers in advanced targeting, context is still an incredibly powerful lever. So advertising against the right audience and context are important tools for winning the moments that matter, but it's not the whole game. It's not even the majority of the game. It's what you do in that moment that matters. And that's why we advocate all brands building for consumer choice. You know, it used to be the case that while it was harder to reach audiences in as targeted and as precise a way as you wanted, it was actually easier to influence them. You could generally count on the fact that they were going to stick around for your commercial. Or if they weren't, we didn't know. But now that's all changed. And in a choice economy, the skip button is really always omnipresent. Whether it's physically there or simply implicitly there, consumers are living in a choice economy, and as a result, so are we. And so what you're seeing is that smart brands are getting ahead of that and even starting to think about adjusting their creative strategy to be ready for and to take advantage of, and in this case, acknowledge straight on the power of choice. I'm going to show you an example of a fun ad that just came out from Geico that does just that.
Don't thank me. Thank the savings.
You can't skip this Geico ad because it's already over. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Have people seen this ad? I mean, how long did you watch the dog, right? I mean, it's amazing. Dogs and children, some things don't actually change. All right, but I'm told I'm on a clock. So we've actually seen across the board that if you have the right content and you have the right message, people will watch brand content and brand messaging with exactly the same open mind and enthusiastic interest that they do from any other media publisher. In fact, in 2014, almost half of the top 10 videos were from brands. I want to show you one more quick clip. This one is from one of the most popular ads of the year, which is Nike's Winter Stays.
Let's go, boys. Let's do it, champ. Keeper? Yeah? Whoa.
When it stays on. When it stays on, lads? Yeah. If when it stays on, get some Cristiano Ronaldo in it. Yeah? I want Neymar.
Now, was that an advertisement? Was that content? Did it matter? Consumers clearly didn't think so. They watched that ad 100 million times last year, making it the second most popular piece of content on YouTube. Not the second most popular ad, the second most watched video in all of YouTube. And it's interesting. The ad that's running behind me now shows it doesn't always have to be high expense, high impact production. This ad was made for $1,300 by a small fashion house called Ren. It's called First Kiss. I'm betting a lot of people here have seen it. And it was seen by more than 1 million people on just the first day. And the ROI? Ren's sales increased over 13,000%. You gotta love the law of small numbers. But looking more broadly, across over 1,000 campaigns, we've found that 83% of TrueView campaigns saw an increase in ad recall, with an average lift of 28%. We also measured TrueView's impact on brand interest, that's the organic searches that I was talking about earlier, and found that 65% of those campaigns drove a significant lift in interest, with an average of 13%. And as brands continue to use the insights gained from these more actionable, more real-time measurement tools, and to make changes and optimize based on them, we're only going to see those averages go up. But we have to take advantage of this rapid, more actionable measurement, right? We have to make the timeliness matter. And let me share an example. Let's say you're a marketer that's about to launch a new flavor of gum in the marketplace. and you decide you're going to film a commercial with an actor chewing this new flavor of gum. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Let's take a look. Who saw the difference? A couple folks. One was already chewing the gum, and one started by putting the gum in his mouth. And so the question is, which is better? And does it matter, right? Before you answer, we're going to play it one more time. Watch carefully. Okay, Mondelez was faced with this exact choice when they launched a new flavor of Trident in Brazil. So raise your hand if you would have gone with the putting the gum in the mouth. Okay, it looks like actually an overwhelming majority, perhaps. Raise your hand if you would have gone with the guy already chewing gum. Just a few folks. Raise your hand if you don't think it matters. One or two. Okay. What Mondelez actually did, in this case, there was a more clear direction of what you would have done. Usually the group splits a little bit more, in which case you sort of say, all right, there's no intuitive response. Interestingly, the data is counter to the intuition of this room. And what they found when they produced the two ads and ran them along with brand surveys was that the second ad, with the gentleman already chewing the gum, did disproportionately better than the ad where he put the gum in his mouth. And so when they shifted the mix of spots running to that second ad, their ad recall shot through the roof. It went to nearly 97%, which was 23% higher than the first option. And that information was only useful because they could get insights from thousands of people in hours, and this is the most important point, they were ready and prepared to act on it. So to have success in a changing video landscape, it's really not that we have to do different things. It's that we have to do the same things differently. We've always cared about context and choice and optimization. But now, we need to let our customers tell us what content is most popular and most meaningful to them and where and how they want to be engaged, and make sure our brands are there. And we need to build our ads with choice in mind and make sure that we hold our audience's attention from the very start rather than on sort of the more traditional story arc. And lastly, we need to get and act on measurement that gives us results in hours or days, not weeks or months. So in short, we really need to take measure of all of the moments that matter. Thank you so much.